Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
It is 8:07 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. It's Brian Wilson, joined today by Larry O'Connor from Breitbart TV. Larry, good to have you aboard.
Happy Halloween, Brian.
Listen, the Mornings on the Mall Swing State Roadshow returns to the place where it all started, Metro 29 Diner in Arlington. Pancakes and Politics start at 6 o'clock. We'll be broadcasting there starting at 5 a.m. Door opens at 6. And where is it, you say? You may be saying, where is it? I want to be there. 4711 Lee Highway in Arlington. The Swing State Roadshow, our last venture into the Commonwealth of Virginia before the election. Hope you'll come out and join us. We are very pleased to be joined by Jim Pethokoukis, money and politics columnist, blogger for the American Enterprise Institute, and a CNBC contributor. And by the way, one of the funniest guys on the Twitter machine. He's a very glib guy.
Yeah, you got to follow Jim.
How are you, Jim?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on this morning.
All right, so my first question is, yesterday I think I heard, I haven't really seen an update on this. Are they going to delay the jobs numbers?
It sounds like to me that they are not going to,
well,
for good or ill, that they're actually going to be out 8:30 a.m. Friday morning, and we'll see what they say. It'll be interesting to see if we see that unemployment rate bounce back to maybe 8% after that unexpected drop last month.
Yeah, the numbers, it's really funny is that when you look at earnings reports at Wall, I mean, I know these things don't connect, but to me they should. You look at the earnings reports, everybody goes, well, that's tepid. Ooh, that's weak. Ooh, and the stock market goes down and down and down. And yet every government number that comes out is, oh, look, this is better. Oh, this is improved. Is there a disconnect there?
Well, you're right. We're seeing a drop-off in earnings, a drop-off in business investment. So it would be really strange if we saw this surge in hiring. Now, remember that the surge in hiring we saw last month was really only in one of the two job surveys, and we saw a lot of part-time jobs. What we're not seeing, in any survey, here's what we're not seeing is a lot of full-time jobs being created. Really, with the economy growing no better this year than it did last year, maybe a bit worse, that we're getting about the same job growth, I think, overall as last year, which made the big drop in unemployment rate so strange. But as I'm sure people know now, there are lots of weird factors, including just lots of part-time jobs.
Hey, Jim, whenever a natural disaster like Hurricane Sandy occurs, you often see people on these business channels saying, oh, well, this is a good time to invest in Home Depot or some of the construction companies, and there's, a cash infusion from the federal government for rebuilding, and they almost say it's going to be sort of like a mini stimulus. Is that the case in the case of Hurricane Sandy?
Well, listen, there might be some people that benefit, maybe, your Home Depots or your Lowe's or what have you. But overall, destroying homes and roads and subways is not the way to economic growth. There's no net gain from that. The only way there's net gain if you were to replace, let's say, a road maybe with a better road or something like that. But overall, destroying productive assets is not the way to increase economic growth. You see the economy drop, then maybe we'll get some of that activity back. But at best, it's going to be an even. I think overall, it's certainly a minus.
Hey, Jim, we saw the campaigns hit each other over the head over the last day or two over the auto bailout. You saw Romney make a pretty bold move, I think, in Ohio and Michigan with a new ad claiming that the bailout wasn't that good, and in the long run, Chrysler is going to be sending some jobs to China for Jeep.
To build Jeeps in China.
To build Jeeps. What is your take on that? I know that there's a lot of controversy over it. And in the long run, but do you think Romney can make a case that actually the auto bailout isn't that good of a thing, considering he's got Lee Iacocca and the Detroit News endorsing him?
Right. I mean, that's helpful. Getting Lee Iacocca, who in the 1980s was the face of the resurgent American automobile
and
industry.
The godfather of federal bailouts to auto companies.
That's right. So people who aren't directly related to the auto industry, the auto bailout, not super popular with them. Obviously, if you're in the industry, it's going to be more popular. Listen, we can save we can quote unquote save any industry we want by giving it a bunch of federal money. Listen, you could take any company and we can keep it going indefinitely as long as we don't run out of taxpayer money. That's not the point. The point is, are we putting our industry in a position to compete globally without government support? I think that's an open question whether GM can do that effectively. Because remember, its sales went up, but partly the reason sales went up is because the Japanese auto industry got devastated by an earthquake. So we'll see long term how the bailouts work.
All right, I have to get you, because you had some really clever things to say yesterday about the fact that apparently Lucas is going to be bought out. Lucasfilms and the Star Wars empire is going to be purchased by the Disney Corporation. What do you think about that?
Well, listen, apparently there are two, this is what I've discovered, there's two kinds of people in this world. People who want to see more Star Wars films and people who do not. I do want to see more well-made Star Wars films, so that's great. Bringing some, maybe a fresh perspective. It's a new director for Star Wars. Fantastic. But if you've had enough, if the prequels soured you on the Star Wars experience, then this is bad news. I think you're going to be getting a lot more Star Wars, like, for the rest of our lives. Every 2 or 3 years, forever.
Right, starring the kids from High School Musical.
That's right. That's right.
Selena Gomez as a young Princess Leia.
Nor, in this case, an old Princess Leia. Well, I mean, that's what I'm not understanding. Where are they going to go with the franchise with Darth Vader dead?
Listen, I know they've written a lot of books out. There's material out there about what happened after Return of the Jedi. So listen, I think that's not an issue. I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see more movies about what happened next, not more movies sort of filling in the gaps and what happened, between this movie and that movie. Let's move it forward.
And just so you know, Jim, when we have Rick Santelli on, we're going to ask him about Howard the Duck, just to even it out.
All right.
Oh, man, listen, we're going to get new Howard the Duck movies every 2 or 3 years forever. I'm sure of it.
Oh, well, I can hardly wait. Listen, Jim, thank you so much. Good to have you on this morning. Always appreciated. Jim Pethokoukis, who is a blogger for the American Enterprise Institute and a CNBC contributor and a guy that you must follow if you're on the Twitter machine. It's 8:14.